Okay, kids, it's teacher Didi from a new online English lesson. So today, sorry for being late. Last week I didn't have time. So today we will learn if the magic potion are real. Maybe some of you already watch Harry Potter or a movie with a supernatural power or witch or etc. So we'll see if it's true because sometimes in this movie you can make a mixture of different potion. Sometimes it's for get love, sometimes it's for have more power. So we'll see what can say science about that. So we watch now a good video about this website. Let's start.
Hi, it's Doug. So back when I was in about third or fourth grade, I remember my parents had this barrel that they used to plant flowers in. One fall, when the flowers were done blooming, my dad took out the dead flowers in the soil, and he left the barrel sitting there empty. Well, that got my imagination going. In that barrel, I could imagine a wizard's cauldron, and it gave me an idea. I asked, "Can I play with this?" My dad said, "Sure," he didn't mind. So I started mixing together everything I could find. I put in dirt, water, sand. I mixed in some soap bubbles. The stuff looked nasty, but I was having fun. Even if just for a few minutes, I felt like a wizard or a witch. I pretended that I had made something amazing. Have you ever done anything like this? If you have, you've probably noticed it never seems to work out, does it? Most of the time, it just makes a mess. Like on your dinner plate, if you mix a bunch of ketchup with a bunch of mustard, you just get ketchupy mustard. But in stories, wizards and witches are always brewing such interesting things. Potions, they call them. You know, they mix up a potion that turns someone into an animal. Poof. Or a potion that makes something invisible. Poof. Now, wizards and witches, they're just the stuff of stories these days. But potions? Could they be real? Could there really be a potion that does something amazing or valuable? What do you think?
So kids, do you think there could really be a potion that does something amazing or valuable? Do you think there are really liquid or mixture that can transform things? Why not? We will see that now. If you could make a potion, what you would you want it to do?
It turns out, a long time ago, there was actually a group of real life people who acted like wizards or witches. Some of them even wore pointy hats. In fact, they became the inspiration for the wizards and witches you read about in stories. They were called the alchemists. And just like wizards or witches, these people were convinced that actual potions were possible, that they just had to figure out a way to invent them. So the alchemists experimented with mixing lots of things together to try and invent potions. What kind of potion did they want to create? Well, there's lots of things you might love for a potion to be able to do. Many of the alchemists were interested in being wealthy, having lots of money. So they focused their effort on trying to invent a potion that could transform something ordinary, like a lump of iron or steel, into something extraordinary and valuable, like a piece of gold. Now, I don't know how much you know about gold, but gold is one of the most valuable materials in the world. People are attracted to its shininess and its beautiful color. So you see it used for jewelry, things like necklaces, bracelets, and rings. And gold is worth a lot of money. Compared to other metals, it's just not even close. Like, check this out. Here's a less valuable metal. This is copper. An ounce of copper, that's something this size, is worth about $2. An ounce of steel, that's worth even less. This is worth about 10 cents. But now an ounce of gold, that's about this much gold, it's worth more than $1,000. So if there were a potion that could turn something made of ordinary metal into gold, that would definitely make you very wealthy. You can see why alchemists would want a potion like that. But why even think this is possible? I mean, is there any reason at all to think you could make a potion that does this? Well, again, the alchemists realized that if they were going to invent a new potion, that meant they were going to have to experiment. They could mix different substances together. Then they could test what they created to see if it did what they wanted it to. That's what you're going to do today. You're going to try your hand at being an alchemist. Now, you won't start out by trying to find a potion that makes gold. That is not going to be easy. If it were easy, you probably would have heard about it by now. But could you discover a potion that transforms a piece of dull copper into one that's new and shiny?
Kids, suppose you wanted to make this dull, brown penny, bright and shiny. Can you think of any liquids in your house that may do that? Why do you think this liquid might work? So we'll see directly the video of answer. So we cannot do activity like for every lesson. It's very hard for me to give you activity to do because it's not a classroom. So for distance learning, it's difficult. But we can see the result.
In today's activity, you're going to experiment like an alchemist. Your goal is to transform a dull brown penny into a shiny bright one like this, using a liquid. You'll work with 4 different liquids that real alchemists experimented with. You have water that's soapy, water that's salty, vinegar, a liquid people use in cooking and salad dressing, and a mixture of salt and vinegar. I'll show you how to get started, step by step. If you're in a class, form a team of 4. Each person will test a different liquid. If you're working alone, you can do all 4 tests yourself. When you're done with the step, click. So is the dull dark brown just on the surface, or did it go all the way through the penny? One way to find out is if you were to scratch at a dull penny with sandpaper, so let's try it. Wow, you see that? So there's shiny, new copper underneath. So pennies are only dull on the surface, where the air has come in contact with the penny. Now we can return to the original question. When we dipped a penny into the vinegar and salt, what did the vinegar and salt do? Why did this liquid make a dull, dark brown penny look shiny again? Well, let's imagine the penny from the side, like this. Now remember, before you dipped it in the liquid, the penny was all brown. We came up with 3 things that might be going on. Maybe you thought of one of these too. Idea number 1. Maybe the vinegar and salt removed the dull outer layer, revealing the shiny new copper underneath. Or here's another idea. Maybe the vinegar and salt added a shiny layer of copper on top of the dull layer. Or idea number 3. Maybe nothing was added or removed, but instead the vinegar and salt somehow changed the dull layer itself from being dull to shiny copper again. Do you have any ideas for how you could figure out which of these 3 ideas might be true?
How could you figure out which of these 3 ideas is true? Dull layer removed, shiny layer added, change in place.
Of the 3 possibilities of what the vinegar and salt were doing, how could we test them to see which one is true? Well, with idea number 2, shiny layer added, we thought of something simple we could do. If a shiny layer of copper were added on top of the dull layer, then there should still be dull brown copper inside it, underneath the shiny layer. So if we just scratched the shiny copper on one of the pennies after it was dipped in the vinegar and salt, we could test it out to see if there's a dull layer still underneath. Let's try that. Okay. We're going to scratch it with a piece of sandpaper really hard. it's still shiny. Okay, so we can see there's not a dull layer underneath. So that means we can rule out idea number 2, shiny layer added. That leaves the other 2 ideas. Idea number 1, maybe the dull layer was removed. Or idea number 3, maybe it changed in place. Nothing was added or removed. The liquid just changed the dull layer to being shiny. Now, hopefully you thought of some ways to test these 2 ideas as well. Here's one thing we were thinking about. If the dull layer were removed, then shouldn't we be able to see little bits of dull brown copper come off? Like, shouldn't we be able to see some of it in the liquid? Why or why not? What do you think?
So kids,
Discuss.
give me 1 second. Okay. We will see directly the answer. So, cannot do the worksheet. What was the last? Okay, we will see if there is video.
I picked up these spade bits at the auction last week. It was mixed with a few other items for $2. Chemical product affect the spoon. So it's a quick way for cleaning metal stuff.
Okay, so kids, yes, it will be the end of the lesson. So don't hesitate to give me information by message if you need. Maybe I will send you the worksheet, but for the beginning of the online lesson, I don't have a lot of time, but maybe next lesson will be better, I hope. So I please take care of yourself and see you another time. Bye bye.
Square.
It worked one for your stomach.
No matter size.
What is food ingestion? Why do birds have beaks?
Do you have a favorite animal like this girl has here? Sometimes people ask me what my favorite animal is, and it's always so hard for me to say. I like turtles a lot, but the more I learn about animals, the more amazing animals I find out about. Like when I first became a science teacher, I got a pet chameleon like this. Now check this out. Look at how a chameleon's eyes move. It can look in all directions. And when a chameleon walks, they look so strange. Those feet they have are actually better suited for gripping onto tree branches than walking on the ground. But my favorite thing about my chameleon was this.
Oh, j'ai niqué mon fichier. J'ai niqué mon fichier. Hello, back kids. Also, I decided. Why do birds have beaks? Yes!